right, let's make buttermilk biscuits. So here we have all the ingredients in front of us. The thing about making biscuits is they're very simple and they're actually really quick too. But there's technique and there's details to pay attention to. So the first detail is the ingredients, right? It really does matter what flour you pick out. Just regular all-purpose flour is not as good as pastry flour or cake flour, and also white lily flour is an excellent flour for biscuits. Then you'll also need baking powder, salt, and butter, and buttermilk. The butter and buttermilk should both be very cold, as cold as you can get it when you're working with it. You only need, in my recipe, 1 stick of butter, but I have this big chunk here because I usually just carve off a piece of it and then weigh it. So it's either 1 stick or 4 ounces of farmer's butter. All right, here's a handy trick for the butter. Put it in the freezer if you have a stick, or here I've weighed out 4 ounces. Okay. Once you finish sifting all the dry ingredients, and you can either cut this up into little chunks, or I was given the tip that you could grate it. So if it's really cold from the freezer, then grating it works. And this farmer's butter will start to break off into chunks as well. It's a little more waxy, right? Some of these pieces you can just sort of break up with your hand. And then sort of toss around the grated butter. You know, you actually don't want the butter to blend in with the flour. You want it to be discreet from it. That's what makes it flaky. All right, now it's time for the buttermilk. So we have the butter tossed in here. And you basically sort of make a well in the center, right? Shake your buttermilk. And 1.5 cups. And usually I find that I need a little more than 1.5. Some flour is more absorbent than others, so just keep in mind that you may need to use a little more. Pour that into the well in the center, and then start mixing it. Yeah, so I already feel like I need a little more. Maybe I should say it's more like 1 2/3 cup. All right, next you want to put this on your work surface, and I've already put a generous amount of flour down. Okay. Your hands are going to get sticky. Okay. And then on top of here, I'm also going to put some flour. So I'm going to start pressing down. And then this is sort of the laminating part. It's what gets us the nice flaky layers. At a certain point, the flour is no longer going to keep it from sticking. So at that point, pick it up. Add more flour. Okay. Let's use a rolling pin now. You can sort of see the little lumps of butter, right? That's good. It's gonna make good biscuits. Now, I get, traditionally biscuits are round, and you use a round cookie cutter, which is good. But in order to conserve dough, I just cut it with a knife. But there's a technique to it so that when you cut it, they bake well. They rise the way you want them to. So it's probably pretty good, about that thickness. Yeah. So what I want to do now is cut the biscuits. So like I said, I know traditionally you have a cookie cutter and you do circular ones. You don't ever want to use like a glass or anything, because what's important is that you cut real cleanly through the dough, so that I'm not going to saw through this or anything. I'm just going to press down, right? So the first thing I do is I trim off the edges, okay? And I'll bake those too. They become like breadsticks. They're actually really good. It's a non-stick pan, and so I'm just going to put them straight down. But if you don't have a non-stick pan, you should put some parchment paper down. And this way you don't waste any dough. So that's full. Okay. Oh, I forgot to say, first preheat your oven. So preheat your oven to 450 degrees beforehand. Ours is already preheating, so I'm going to put it in here. It's already done. We're going to bake it for about 10 minutes and check and see if it's golden brown, and if not, maybe leave it in a little longer.